Hi, I'm MarzGurl.
I'm JoshKnightTheFirst.
Welcome to episode 102 of MokkoriPlay, the only podcast dedicated solely to all things City Hunter.
On today's podcast, we're going to cover Season 2, Episode 51 of City Hunter, titled Crystal Pepsi, Chain of Memories Reviving in Kairi. No, wait, that's not right. Crystal Prophecy, Chains of Memory Reviving in Kaori.
Man, I thought we almost started a completely different podcast for a second.
We do not have the time nor the energy to have a Kingdom Hearts podcast, and you know it.
You know what? That is, by comparison, technically speaking, there's not as much content. At least you wouldn't think there shouldn't be enough content to make more content about Kingdom Hearts than about City Hunter, and yet you would need so much more time.
I don't have the brain cells for it, Kaylin. I just don't. So, we're back.
From outer space. It's not space, it's just Japan.
Well, it's not just Japan. It was a very specific part of Japan.
I mean, it's not space.
Yeah, but you're the one that said space.
I'm the one that said space. No, we went to Shinjuku for a second.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. I know, like, this is really weird to come back. We said the last episode, oh yeah, we're recording this before we go to Japan, but we've posted this after we've already come back. And so there's about a week that has passed by the time this episode will go out to everybody.
Right.
And we've been back, but now we can finally tell you some things. And I think we're going to spend kind of a lot, maybe more? At least half. Maybe half the time this episode talking about things that happened over there and things that are very City Hunter related. And then the other half is like actually the episode that we're talking about.
Because we'll tell you guys straight up, I forgot what was happening in this episode because, again, it's been like 2 or 3 years since we actually watched this episode. I forgot this is a recap episode.
Yeah, so we don't have a lot to say about the episode because such a large volume of it is, hey, remember that time that thing happened?
Oh yeah, that happened. And that's it. That's pretty much all they're giving you.
That's most of the episode. But that's fine, because I would like to just sit here and talk to you guys about, hey, we came back from Japan last week, and here's some City Hunter stuff. This is relevant. I promise it's relevant.
Yeah, so we were out there for about 10 days, and the first thing we did was we hit up Kabukicho, which, if you guys remember, in episode 1 of City Hunter, that's the area where Ryo is kind of patrolling around and going from bar to bar, trying to pick up chicks.
I mean, you see it really plain as day straight up in episode 1, like the Kabukicho main red gate. And you also see it in Shinjuku Private Eyes. You see kind of the square area where you see the Toho cinemas and you see Ryo save Godzilla from an RPG.
And you know, that's real. That's what that theater looks like in real life.
That theater is very important. It was important enough that we stayed in a hotel directly next to it. There's a hotel in that theater, or there's a theater in the hotel. They're in the same building. The hotel and the theater.
The theater does not have a hotel in it, but there's 2 hotels right next to it.
No, it's Hotel Gracery. Yes, where the Toho Cinemas is also Hotel Gracery with Godzilla's head on top of it. That's Hotel Gracery.
Yeah, it's next to it, because the way it works is that there is a hotel with Godzilla-themed rooms and things like that, and you can look out over it.
Yeah, and the Hotel Gracery, and it's like the same building.
I mean, they are connected buildings.
Yes,
they are
that's
not
what
the
I'm telling you.
building.
Yes, they are. You just keep going up. Our friend Matt said, oh yeah, I'm staying in the Godzilla hotel. That's what this Godzilla head.
Is that what he was doing?
Yes.
Okay.
It's the same building, Josh.
In the most technical sense, it is the same building.
That's what I'm saying.
So the other good thing about this theater is that somehow, after 2 months, they were still having screenings of City Hunter Angel Dust.
Pretty crazy. You don't typically get a movie running that long in North America anymore.
No, like at max you get maybe 3 weeks nowadays, you get 2 weeks off, and then straight to streaming.
Or at least to, like, not nearly as widely distributed amongst theaters, right? Like, maybe it'll be in some hole-in-the-wall theater somewhere for a second. But I was finding that these Toho cinemas in Shinjuku were continuing to have, like, 2 showings a day. It was barely hanging on, but it wasn't like all day, oh, we got multiple theaters and we've got a bajillion different showtimes. No, they only had 2.
But don't get us wrong, when we went, there were plenty of people in that theater.
That was almost a full theater in there.
Yeah.
It was really kind of an interesting thing to see, and I wonder if that's just because of Tokyo's population. Like, there's only so many seats for all the numbers, just by volume of the amount of people.
I mean, it wasn't a
town.
small theater.
No, it really wasn't. Although, we also saw Godzilla -1 in that theater.
Now, granted, yes, that one was a bigger
and that
theater.
that was a huge
it was open.
audience.
Well, it wasn't quite opening weekend because we were out there 2 weeks
like
after
2 weeks after. So, I mean, but it was still new. By comparison, it's still new, right? Plus, now, this past week, Godzilla -1 has hit North American screens. So, go see that movie. We've seen it twice now. One time without subtitles, and one time with in North America. But anyway, back to City Hunter, Angel Dust. We did go and see it, and I just kind of want to talk for a second about, like, that Japanese movie-going experience, which I was kind of prepared for because everybody tells you Japanese theaters are super quiet. It's weird how I've gone to Japan 5 times, and this is my first time I've ever seen anything in a movie theater.
Let alone twice in the same week.
Yeah, two movies in the same week. That was pretty cool. Also, it was very easy to get tickets. I feel much less stressed out about it now because you just go up to a kiosk and everything is dual in Japanese and English, and you just boop, 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 and you...
So it's just like buying tickets out here.
Yeah, everything was essentially pretty much the same. Snacks at the counter looked a little different, but not all that much, all things considered. We didn't get anything because we were just trying to run on in there both times, I think.
And was I cosplaying as Rio? Yes, I was.
Yeah, that's a little funky, but no, like, prepared for everybody in that theater to be quiet. I was prepared for that, but like, the kind of quiet people were. Like, you also have this experience with wrestling. Wrestling audiences in Japan are also just mostly calm and reserved and
not
quiet
as much
and
as
polite.
they used to be.
No, it is starting to change, and you do start to hear, like, they're mostly reserved, and they kind of go, oh, and then they'll, like, politely clap. Mind you, we have, on this show, talked about a time when that was different in Joshi wrestling, and women are just screaming and crying, and you throwing up in the stadium, like, oh my god, they just cut this woman's hair, how could you do that? But all things considered, by comparison to, like, WWE and AEW and other American wrestling outfits, like, American audiences go crazy, and Japanese audiences are not quite at that level. So here I am prepared for this audience to be very reserved. The extent to their reservation, I was not prepared for, because we would see things like, oh, I can't believe I saw that just happen, and they're just giving us nothing.
Because we're not going to spoil it for you guys. We're going to give you guys a cursory overview of what the experience was like without getting into it too hard, because from everything that we've looked up, we're supposed to be getting a North American release over here sometime early next year.
The rumors, if France is to be believed, it might be as soon as January.
We hope.
We hope. It hasn't actually been announced. It was just kind of quietly leaked onto, like, French theater pre-reserves, like, oh, here's a date. You know, the way games leak on Steam, like, oh, it just ended up kind of in the roster of these are things coming out.
Right.
Like, so that happened in a French theater listing, and so it hasn't actually been announced, but that's what the suspicion is at the moment.
But yeah, going to see the movie was great because, one, they still had the program available in the lobby, which is a
Japan loves
big...
to make programs for films. It's crazy. It's great, honestly.
And it's got literally everything you could ever want for this movie. It's got character bios, it's got art, it's got interview with the cast, it's got all of this deep cut information that you wouldn't necessarily know going into it.
I love these background cells, actually. I'm kind of flipping through it right now because you ended up buying one while we were there. And, like, some of this reminds me, in a way, especially, I'm pointing at this one here to Josh, the way they've cut the room in this background cell. It just reminds me of a pre-rendered background background in a PlayStation 1 era JRPG. You know, these are some great background pieces. There's so much detail in these backgrounds. It's so good to look at.
But on top of that, you know, the art is as good as it was in Shinjuku Private Eyes on the whole. They did not phone anything in here. This is a theatrical release, so you get your money's worth there on the screen. And that, visually, it's great. It's everything you expect from City Hunter per a movie released within the last 5 years. And as far as the movie itself goes, right out the gate, you get a joke, a visual gag, that if we had not looked in the program guide literally a minute beforehand, we would not have seen coming.
It's real good, though. It's super good. You'll be laughing in the first minute. And the guy next to me wanted to laugh.
You could tell he wanted to laugh.
The guy next to me, you can tell he's doing his best to be like, I'm supposed to be a good citizen right now, but I want to laugh, and I want to nod my head to the music. He, like, let himself get out just the slightest head bobbing. Just real, like, I think I can get away with this. I think I can do this much. But everybody else, I'm just like, oh my god, do you guys feel anything that's and I think they do, but I think everybody is like, if I say anything out loud, everybody will know, and everybody will be judging me, because I would judge everybody else if they did the same thing.
Well, guess what? Nobody judges me.
I had to keep telling you, like, hey, you gotta not be going, ooh, no, you can't be doing that.
Look, I'm that American that showed up dressed as Ryo Saiba. If anybody was gonna do it, it was gonna be me.
I understand.
And it was the last showing of the night.
That doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean anything. It's the same.
All these people are just gonna go home and forget I was ever there.
They're not gonna forget that a foreigner showed up at their theater dressed as the main character of the movie. They're not gonna forget that anytime soon. But actually, the soundtrack is really banging. It goes, like, really hard.
Oh, yeah.
It's crazy how hard that soundtrack goes. And I feel like, without giving away anything else, they've done a fairly decent job of connecting City Hunter the anime to the events of City Hunter the manga. And now it is like a complete, oh, actually, this canon makes sense, even though the anime is like, oh, you just invented, like, a new organization and then completely forgot that Union Teope exists. No. Now
we
it's
fixed
like
it. We just needed we needed the little bit of lip service, and they gave it to us. And so it's like, okay, great, now everybody's on the same page.
It only took you, like, 40 years, almost 40 years to do it, but okay, we got there. The circle was very wide. It was a very wide circle, but now we have closed the circle.
And on top of that, based off the ending of the movie, you can clearly tell this won't be the last one.
It can't be, because there's more story to tell.
Because they're going forward with this, okay, we're gonna tell the last bit of the manga that we never got to animate.
And that's what we suspected. Like, from the teaser lines of the poster, that's what we suspected. Like, the end begins, or whatever the hell the phrasing was, but it was like that.
Yeah, exactly. So that seems to be what we're getting here. It was everything I hoped it would be. It was funny. It was action-packed. There was a lot of good character moments in there. A couple of interesting things with location that I will probably need subtitles to try and straighten out about who lives where. But aside from that, I can definitely recommend it. I mean, I know that's, of course, we weren't not going to recommend it, this being the podcast it is, but I'm glad it at least lived up to standards.
And the cameos that you were aware of, you know, they're there. They're pretty good.
Yeah, there's no extra cameos.
There's no extra cameos, and I kind of almost don't want to spoil the entirety of how those cameos play out, because they're not even very long, but I feel like if I said it would just
I can at least say one cameo is longer than the other.
Sure. That Tama cameo is almost nothing.
Yeah, that Tama cameo is about what we saw in the commercials.
It's pretty much just that.
Yeah.
That you've already seen it. You have seen that cameo. There's nothing left to spoil about Tama.
Now, unfortunately, we said we were going to go look around in Shinjuku to try and check out the tourism office where there was supposed to be a statue of Ryo.
We must have gotten there, like, it just had run out its time. They were done with it.
They said it was supposed to be there till December, but we never saw it. We went looking for it, and it just wasn't there.
As far as we could tell, we could see that whole office, right? right?
Yeah, as far as we could tell. We were looking.
The whole office you can see
you could
is
look
glass.
Into.
The whole office is glass, and we didn't like physically walk inside of it because you don't need to, because you can see the whole building by standing directly outside its doors and its windows. And yeah, there was no statue in there. Bummer. But we were there, and we were walking around in Shinjuku Station, which is where they end up picking up all of their XYZ whatevers. Mind you, the chalkboard is not physically there because that's not a thing that is common anymore. It used to be a common thing at train stations, and now it is not.
They did put it out there when Shinjuku Private Eyes came out.
But it was not like a real chalkboard. It was a promotional cardboard cutout chalkboard.
But people could leave like messages.
No, that
right?
was for the last movie. They did do it for Shinjuku Private Eyes.
That's what I just said.
Okay. But they put out for Angel Dust just a cardboard chalkboard that could not be written on.
Right, but specifically for Shinjuku Private Eyes, they did.
You're right.
Now, as far as official merch for Angel Dust goes, we didn't get to see any of it being sold there at the theater. Of course, like you figure, Godzilla Minus One just came out, so it was just all Godzilla merch there in the lobby.
Yeah,
aside from a few programs. But going around the better part of Tokyo and looking at spots in Akihabara and Nakano Broadway, we found some stuff out there that we weren't expecting, namely this City Hunter. The word they use is MOOC, but basically it's a pamphlet of...
Oh, it's more than a pamphlet. It's kind of thick. It's a magazine. It is a magazine. It's slightly thicker than the program that we get for these movies, like Angel Dust that you just mentioned. You got the program for it, so it's slightly thicker than this program. How many pages? Does it have page numbers at the bottom?
Actually,
it does.
Right? Give me 2 seconds here. You are looking at...
less than 100 pages.
Almost 100 pages.
Almost 100
You're looking at about... 99 pages.
Wow. About 100 pages. Because one of those pages isn't numbered.
Right. But it's all the information you could ever need if you're a City Hunter fan.
It's a City Hunter episode-by-episode guide, also including all of the anime films and TV OVAs or whatever. It doesn't include anything about the manga or live-action adaptations or Angel Heart. It's very succinctly just about the canon of City Hunter as an anime.
But that having been said, there's a ton of information in here that really would have been helpful when we started.
Throughout the show, throughout us doing this podcast.
But there's still plenty we can pull from here for City Hunter 3, City Hunter 91, and of course, like you said, all of the TV movies and Shinjuku Private Eyes and Angel Dust when we get to them.
And mind you, yeah, you could look a lot of this up on various wikis and stuff, and yet it just has such detailed character art. When stuff was in pre-production, they're putting characters' faces in different expressions and their bodies in different poses to kind of show the animators this is how this character needs to look and move when you're doing the animation.
Yeah, they've got all these style guides for all the different outfits they wear throughout the different iterations of the show. The one thing that pisses me off, though, is that for all the section that they have on Kaori, she's never put in the good jacket.
That good blue jacket that looks like a high school letterman's jacket.
With the pink accent.
Yeah. Weird how that, for such a detailed book, it doesn't have that, but it's got a bunch of her hammers, and it's got the interior of her car.
Panda, yeah.
I don't understand. It's crazy how much detail you can get, and yet somehow just miss this one little thing, like, oh, I can't believe that didn't make it in there.
As I'm flipping through it right now, I just like this photo right here of Umibozu yelling into Ryo's face. He looks like he's about to eat him.
There's some pretty good screenshots in here. There's sections that dedicate, like, these are the best character episodes for this specific character. We've got details about the bad guys and actually what their names are when the anime forgets to tell you what their names are. The same with, like, the girls that Ryo has to protect for the episode when the episode forgets to tell you what their names are. So that's helpful. That's actually really helpful.
Yeah, like, we're not going to have a problem with that for the rest of this podcast.
Probably
because now we have this.
Right.
And then, completely unrelated to that, we get back, as we're recording this, we got back maybe 6 days ago, right? And then yesterday, we went down to LA Comic Con, where you were doing some streaming work, and down there was another guy, a vendor there, who was also selling pristine condition Japanese movie programs.
Which I don't ever see people sell movie programs at conventions.
I know.
I don't know who that guy is. I've never seen that seller before, and usually we're pretty good about seeing some of the same vendors over and over again within the county,
Right, because we go to a lot of these events events out here, all these conventions, and this guy had a copy in pristine condition of the Shinjuku Private Eyes program guide.
That's crazy. I can't believe we stumbled across it. And the price for it wasn't all that bad, because consider you picked up the program for Angel Dust for 1,000 yen, so that's less than $10. It might have only been $8 with the exchange it's going for right now.
Yeah.
Like, as the yen is just garbage right now. And he only wanted $15 for the Shinjuku Private Eyes. Any of these programs that he had. That's not all that much of a markup if you consider how old the movie is. You know, it's got a few years on it now.
We're talking about, like, what, 4 years thereabouts?
Yeah, 2019, so...
Yeah, going on about, yeah.
And that it's an import. Like, I feel like that is extremely reasonable to have gotten this for that much.
And flipping through this, you can see it's got all this great stuff in it. It's got a lot of interviews, a lot of art. Like a lot of Japanese media does, it's got this relationship map.
This chart.
Yeah, that shows who means what to who.
It's great. I can't believe we stumbled across that. The guy's like, oh, I can't believe that's the one you want. Nobody knows what that is. That's my favorite. I love City Hunter. I'm like, oh, you're talking to the exact right people, sir.
Sir, we have a podcast.
And he's just like, oh, he seems confused. Like, who would do that? I love it, but who would do that?
The answer is us. That's who does that. We are the ones doing that. We are the only ones who have tried to do it.
I showed him my phone case, like, see, I got Rio on my phone case. He's like, oh, like, he did not understand what he just walked into.
Well, no, because it's like, one, he didn't expect anybody to buy it. Less did he expect whoever bought it to have credentials for City Hunter. Yeah, we know the guy who edits it for Manga Hot or Coamics.
It's both. It's Manga Hot is the app. Coamics is the publisher of Manga Hot and all the comics. Yeah, we know that translator editor guy. Hi, David.
But it's the whole thing of like, no, sir, we know exactly what we're buying. We are here to purchase the Mokkori Man.
Mokkori Man.
I love the cover for it, for Private Eyes, because I wish that was the DVD cover. I know it's not.
They did make this poster, though. This very red-tinted poster of just Ryo's face and his gun. So,
yes.
Have we covered everything City Hunter related that would be important?
The only other thing was that when we were walking around Nakano Broadway, we came across a section that was selling the City Hunter cologne and perfume.
Yeah, like, that's not up my alley, but I was like, I can't believe they've just got this. Just out here, right here.
So, like, if you so desired to smell like the Mokkori Man yourself, you could do that. The sample little bottle they had was empty, though. So somebody...
I have no idea what it smells like.
It smells like horny, Kaylin. It has to smell like horny.
See, that's just you guessing. You don't know.
I mean, I don't know.
Because the fragrance was out. The tester was out.
And I didn't want to smell like coyote, because then I'd get kidnapped.
But you would be able to summon a hammer out of nowhere.
Oh, I didn't think about that. You should have done it.
Well, damn. My bad.
And now we don't know if we'll ever get that chance again. And then watch, we go down to Little Tokyo next weekend, and it's just going to be there, randomly in some shop.
Sometimes that just happens.
It does kind of just happen sometimes.
You just get lucky sometimes.
But we didn't get lucky. We got wild.
Yeah, remember that candy we found?
Yeah, they have...
The Crunky. It's the offshoot.
It's one of your favorite chocolates, right?
From Japan? Yeah, because it's like a Crunch Bar, but I'm assuming with less of the baggage of being a terrible company like Nestle and, destroying human beings' lives. God, please nobody tell me that the people who make Crunky are terrible people. Please don't tell me that. Please, I love Crunky bars and the Crunky bites that they made. Anyway, so we found some different offshoot Crunky bites that were like Crunky Get Wild.
Which were just like these caramel malt balls, which were pretty good, at least to me, because I kind of like that caramel flavor.
I mean, they were okay. I wouldn't pick them over normal Crunky.
We did manage to go karaokeing later on that week, and we got lucky with all those songs we picked. Like, a lot of our friends are picking, like, other stuff, but everything we picked that was Japanese, you know how, like, when you're going to karaoke, there's a video on the screen, and it's a generic video of, like, people playing around or walking through a city or things like that? No, all the stuff we picked had the legitimate video from the thing we were singing about.
Yeah, like, for example, I did Don't Stop Me Now by Queen, and it just played the music video.
Like, there's Freddie Mercury right there singing.
Yeah, that was pretty good. I don't know how they managed that, but they did that one.
Like, I sang the first Kamen Rider intro, and they're just playing
They're
Kamen
playing
Rider.
Kamen Rider in the
And
background.
so when we get to the end of the night, the last song we sang was Get Wild, and it played the ending.
It was just playing City Hunter. It was great.
I was so happy.
It was worth it.
And mind you, we were about up on time, so we only sang about as much as the TV size anyway.
Yeah, just the first verse and chorus, and then we were like, oh god, we gotta go. They're gonna overcharge us. Let's
We
get
don't
out
want
of here.
us to charge, because we were already there for like 3 hours anyway.
And that's basically the City Hunter related stuff.
Yay!
We could probably do a whole podcast just on all of our activities in general, but that's not what this podcast is for.
No,
so.
this podcast is for City Hunter and City Hunter related things. We got the related things out of the way, so let's actually talk about today's episode.
Which, I mean, I'm gonna be honest, there's not a lot to talk about right now.
Yeah, because I'm flipping through it right now. I took about half the notes I normally take because, like I said at the top, this is a clip show, ladies and gentlemen, so there's not a lot that's being added to the plot. I thought there was. I was wrong.
Well, you know what? It's a good thing because I was real tired and I could barely keep my brain on what was happening, which is fine because every time my brain needed a break, that's when clip show stuff would cut in. So I'm fine. It's all good. It's all good.
So we're actually probably going to breeze right through
Let's
this.
do it. Let's do it.
So let's just get right into it. So at the top, we're back at Cowdy and Ryo's apartment. We assume that repairs have been made because, as you guys remember...
yeah, she did sort of blow up the building.
Blow up the top 2 floors. She kind of did that.
Possibly damaging a third floor.
Mind you, that was under duress. She was under hypnosis.
It almost wasn't her, sort of.
Maybe. A little bit. It'll hold up in court. It had to. And so Cowdy's there in the kitchen, cooking something. Phone goes off.
It looks like stirred...
fried rice?
Fried rice. She looks like she's making some fried rice.
Anyway, the phone goes off, and she's like, hey, I'm busy in here, Ryo. Can you get that?
And Ryo is busy with a nudie mag.
As he is. But he goes and picks up the phone.
It's his only pastime, aside from one time he played a video game.
I mean, they have a system. Maybe they just don't have time to pick up other games. All their money went to repairs, Kaylin.
All their money went to making one licensed video game about themselves.
We don't know that. We don't know that they spent their own money on it.
You're right, I have no idea.
But he picks up the phone, and of all people, it's Reika, because I guess the writers remembered, oh yeah, we didn't do a lot with her in the last 2 episodes.
Also, you remember she was there the last time, and then, what do you mean she was there? What was she doing? She wasn't doing it. Hello, I'm here. Hey, wait, why are you leaving me? That was her appearance in the last episode. Or 2. She's not there.
But she's here this week, and she's trying to set Ryo up on a date with her.
At least those are the pretenses, anyway. She's like, hey, I think it's time for a date. In fact, she doesn't even start off with that. She's just like, hey, Ryo, are you free? And he's like, not for anything other than a date, I'm not. And she's like, well, you want one? And he's like, yeah, let's go.
So there are promises of Mokkori made, and she tells him, okay, meet me over at New City Hotel tonight at 7, wear a tux.
She doesn't even tell him to wear a tux. He just decides, oh, you don't want me to dress like an idiot, then I will dress in a tux. I feel like he has jumped all the way to the end of what is expected for dressing up nice. Tux seems like a bit much, but fine, okay.
I mean, if he just had a tux lying around, then fine. I just hope he didn't go through the trouble of having to rent one just so he could get some.
So then they have set this whole date up, and then Reika wants the phone passed over to Kaori, and Ryo's like, oh, okay, I'll do that. I'm more than happy to do that. Here you go, Kaori. I'm gonna go out and I guess go get into a tux.
No, I mean, I guess
else?
if he had to go, then he probably had to go get a tux. I guess that means he rented one.
Yeah, because he
left.
He left the building.
Okay, so he didn't have one. Damn, he really did rent a tux just because he thought it would get him some.
So Kaori is now on the phone like, oh, that's weird. I wonder where he's going. Anyway, hi, Reika.
She's not very good at this. Reika is trying to set something up here, and she's being very overt.
Well, you know what? It's just enough for these two idiots, because neither one of them understands that they're getting set up. So
no, they don't.
They're just both stupid.
And so Reika's over here on the phone like, hey, Cowdy, you heard of this place called the House of Fortune?
That's stupid and weird that you would ask me that, but no.
Hey, it's a fortune teller, and it's not that far from you, and it's really popular.
I don't even like fortunes.
Well, today you do, and you should go there around 5. You should do that, yeah.
All right, just because you made made this suggestion. Like, I would not just do that.
I wouldn't do it.
Yeah, because if somebody called me up like, oh my god, you have to go to this fortune teller, I must be of the same mind as Kaori. Because I, generally speaking, don't believe in fortune telling. And so if somebody is really hyping up a fortune teller, saying, oh, you gotta go to this person, I'll be like, oh, thanks for the recommendation. Click. Anyway, I'm gonna keep making my fried rice now. And I would not go anywhere.
Like, it's not like I haven't had friends do, like, tarot readings for me.
Sure.
It's just my thing of, like, I don't necessarily want to pay for it.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, well, that's entertaining. And then I walk away. And I don't think anything of what I was told. That's the entire extent of it. I just genuinely don't believe in it.
And see, like, if I'm Kaori and I decide, like, I'm just guessing here, we don't actually know. Oh, it's, like, noon right now and she wants me to be there at 5. I'm just gonna go the way I'm dressed, because she's just there in the kitchen with, like, a sweater and jeans on, right?
But Kaori has decided, maybe I better dress up for this fortune teller that I don't even believe in the first place.
But she goes down there in, like, her receptionist outfit that she's worn before.
The one that I keep commenting looks like she works at the jewelry department at Kohl's.
Or, like, the perfume counter at
right.
Macy's.
It's the same idea. It's
basic
the same idea,
yeah. And so she goes down into this, like, dilapidated-looking building where the door's open. She goes all the way back, and there's the stereotypical old magic woman with a hood over her head.
I'm an old lady, and I'm doing fortune telling.
That kind of lady.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, what kind of fortunes do you tell? And then straight out the gate, she's like, I know your birthday and your name without you having even said anything.
Wow, how do you know me? Shut up. Anyway.
I know a lot about you, and here's everything I'm going to tell you about your life. And then she starts describing, what'd she say here? It was like 3 scorpions?
She's being very cryptic about a real-life series of events. Yeah, she talks about 3 scorpions, and there's a rabbit, and the rabbit is you. I have to clarify that because you're an idiot.
But there is also a lion, and the rabbit is being protected by the lion.
And Kaori's immediately like, oh, well, that's Rio. Great. I'm glad we're all on the same page now. Clip show starts. It's time for the clip show. Hey, remember last season's big finale? Remember when that happened?
With Red Pegasus?
With Red Pegasus, and there were these 3 siblings, and I don't remember exactly why we got here, but the 3 siblings had Kaori captured, and they were trying to kill Rio, and they weren't doing a very good job, and Rio killed all of them, except one of them was not killed.
He killed 2 of them.
He killed 2 of them, and the third one was...
He killed the brothers, and the sister fell.
Yeah, she wasn't even, like, a problem. She just kind of stepped stupid, and then she fell to her death. Although not really, because Rio tried to save her. He grabbed her by the wrist, and then she's like, I need to make him let me go. And then she tries to cut his cheek, and then he's like, oops, let her go. But it's what she wanted. So, I don't know. It was real dumb. Anyway, Kaori has come to the conclusion that, oh, this is about Rio trying to protect me.
And him trying to protect me is always putting him in danger. Oh, I feel like shit.
I'm going to keep making you feel like shit.
Meanwhile, over at Cat's Eye, for whatever reason, Rio decided to stop in there first before going to his quote-unquote date with Reika.
But not before he went to pick up his tux, I guess. Like, he picked up the tux already and is already in it and has decided, you know what I want? To go bother Umibozu.
Well, specifically, he bothers Miki first.
Well, that's true.
He's over there, like, making Miki uncomfortable, and then Umibozu gets in between them. And he's like, why are you dressed up like you're going to a funeral?
I don't know where he got the idea that tuxes look like funeral wear, which, mind you, that's the same idea Rio has. What do you mean tuxes are for funerals, sir?
You don't know fashion? You don't know convention? You don't even know why I'm wearing this? I'm going to go get some from Reika, if you must know.
Well, you're weird. Well, so are you.
But before they have flashbacks, we go back to Kaori, so Magic Lady can give her more flashbacks.
I'm going to continue to make you feel like shit.
Yeah, that. And so we're going back over all of these older cases from the first season and then a few from this season of Kaori's friend who was the flight attendant.
Oh yeah, that happened.
And then there was the dude whose uncle went missing, but he had a crush on Kaori.
That also happened. I'm just gonna let you prattle these off for a second, because, like, this just keeps happening for a while.
And then there was another case that I really didn't even pay attention to, quite honestly. And then there was also the case where it was the first time that we saw that Rio was tracking Kaori with the tracking system in her car.
Yeah. With the computer in her car that we assume that Kaori knows is in her car now.
I mean, she does now.
Yeah, because she tried to use it one time. something.
But Ryo took the car?
Yeah, and then she couldn't use it. So she knows it's in there now.
And she's like, wow, that just keeps happening to me, doesn't it? And the old lady's like, yep, you're actually a rabbit straight from hell, and all you do is bring this man misery. Like, that's already half the episode.
That's how much of a clip show this was, yeah. Quite like a quarter of it already has been clip show. And here I am, like, halfway checked out, like, oh, my brain hurts real bad. I just got done writing closed captions for an H-Bomber guy video that's 4 hours long. I don't think I can pay attention to an episode that is full of other episodes I've already seen. But I'm there for the parts that we haven't seen yet. Come on, give me the parts we haven't seen yet.
So now the fortune teller gives Cowdy some new information. Like, now I see a bear, a big scary bear that could actually kill the lion, and he can't run from this.
Oh no, well I don't want that to happen to him. If I don't, like, leave, then that's gonna happen to him.
Oh shit, I don't want you to actually leave. There's a way to fix this.
Well, that was kind of extreme for her to set all this up like this,
well,
though, right?
See,
like,
this is the problem.
This is really shitty of her, actually. I don't understand why she thought this was the right thing to do.
See, it makes perfect sense for Cowdy, because where she's coming from is she immediately believes, because all this stuff is coming up, that this is on the level. That this is actually this lady telling her everything about her life. And so she's getting really reflective, and because she feels the way she does about Ryo, yeah, she's gonna feel like shit, thinking, oh man, I'm only bringing him misery, and all he does is save my ass.
But she does say that there's a way to solve this.
Yeah,
right?
And she's like, alright, what? Tell me, how do I stop this?
You need to go up to the Tower of Babel and wait for the black-haired lion to appear and drink champagne. It's very specific, but also not specific enough to tell me, what's the Tower of Babel? Like, if this is a metaphor, right?
Yeah.
I assume you don't mean the literal Tower of Babel from the Bible.
Yeah.
Because even we don't know where that is.
Yeah.
Okay? So where do you mean? Where is this? And Calories just like, okay, I'll go right now. And where? Where are you going?
So now we go back to Cat's Eye, and he's like, hey, Miki, did you know that your Umibozu there's a pervert? Well, how is he a pervert?
No, he's not. He's not a I'm not a pervert. I'm not a pervert like you. Oh, yes, you are. Remember that time you wore underwear on your head? And Ryo is full of shit, and he knows it because Umibozu didn't do that himself, and it shows the clip show of, you remember that time when a 16-year-old...
Sakura.
Like, her name was Sakura, was trying to not be under the watchful eye of Umibozu, and deliberately made him freeze up by using her own underwear and putting it on his head, and he didn't want to do anything. He didn't want to touch her. He didn't even want her underwear. He just froze, he locked up, and he passed out from just panic.
Yeah, if you guys remember the episode where we covered the sister with the plates that the Yakuza were trying to get a hold of, it's that episode.
It's that one. It's the plates that make more money.
Yes, and I believe they're the same plates that Ryo switched out for his own face.
Yes.
And so, at the end of Ryo telling this flashback, Miki does actually look a little pissed. Just a little bit.
Well, yeah, if the story actually went the way that Ryo had described it, I would have been pissed too if I were Miki. And even Umibozu was like, come on, man, you know that that's not how that went down.
And then he's like, oh yeah? You know he obsesses about other women too? Like all the way back in his first appearance?
Oh no, he actually might have cared about other people before his current love interest. Like, this is just
it's
so
not even
stupid.
that. It's not even that. It's that it was a celebrity.
Right, it was a celebrity.
It was that actress that he was punking out to make her get over her...
But also it was a job.
It was a job, yeah.
She asked him to kill her, and he took the money to do it.
But he wasn't actually going to do it because he liked her work.
Yeah.
And then after that flashback, he's like, yeah, and you know, he's also a deviant. He likes to dress up. And then we flash back to that other episode.
So when he dresses as Colonel Sanders?
Oh, and a little old lady.
And a little old lady.
And a monkey.
None of that is deviant behavior.
Well, that's how Ryo's playing it, because he's just trying to get Umibozu in trouble.
The Colonel Sanders thing's funny, though.
No, that was amazing. I loved that. And so after this, he, like, what is it? 1, 2, 3 flashbacks to other episodes. Umibozu's had enough and he just punches Ryo out.
I mean, that's fair. He is lying about him repeatedly.
Well, he's misrepresenting him.
Right. And Miki might have almost believed it, even though, why should she? Because she knows he's full of shit. I don't know why she's even halfway falling falling for it.
But she just tells Umibozu,
oh, it's okay. I still love you.
like she says, I love you.
Yeah.
Which I don't think she's ever said it like that straightforward to Umibozu to his face in the show before now.
He's all red, right?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Because, like, we know she cares about him. That's how she showed up in the show. But, like, this is the first time any character has just straight up said, I love you to another character.
Uh-huh. And, you know, Umibozu is nervous, but I don't think that he's fighting it.
No, he doesn't, like, try to play it off like, oh, don't tell me that, or, oh, you don't really mean it. I think he believes her when she says it.
And I don't necessarily think he hates it.
No, I think deep down he actually really likes that Miki is the person who wants to spend the rest of her life with him.
Yeah.
So, of course, after getting punched, Ryo's like, man, bump this, I'm out of here. And so he leaves Cat's Eye, mind you, just to the right of him, for whatever reason.
The sign. How do you misspell Cat's Eye after this many years of having a TV show named Cat's Eye, and you've named a cafe after that TV show and the people in the TV show, and it's spelled I-E-Y-E, but the sign, this time you've decided, but what if we spelled it E-A-E, though?
Cat's yay?
What if we did that this time? Like, nobody checked? Nobody was like, hey, how do we usually write this? I don't know, man. Let's get this out the door.
I don't know. I don't speak English.
They just didn't bother to look at anything previous.
And so as Ryo's going to get in the Mini, Sayako shows up, and she's like, hey, where you going?
I'm going out on a date. What's it to you? Oh, well, Kaori needs you. I just got a phone call a little bit earlier from Reika, and Kaori is in trouble. And that's literally all the information she says. She doesn't say how she's in trouble. She doesn't say where. And Ryo's just like, whatever. I can't keep saving her. I'm going on my date. Bye. And he gets in the Mini Cooper and he drives away.
He's there telling her, no, she's grown. She's good. It's all right. I'm leaving now. And, like, the thing that happens next, I don't necessarily get how we got there.
It's because they were focused too much on the clip show.
Yeah, because we're missing a few pieces of information here, because we now jump to Kaori, who is at the top of a building.
What building? I don't know.
No,
Is
we
it?
do technically know.
Do we?
If we're piecing together from the beginning of the episode, she is at New City Hotel, which is the place that Reika told Ryo to meet her earlier.
Why is that the Tower of Babel if she
I don't know.
If she has assumed, oh, I know where the Tower of Babel is, why did she decide that it was the New City Hotel? Why did she make that conclusion?
I don't know. I'm having to put pieces together myself to try and make sense of this. And so she's up there, Kaori's up on the top of this building with a bottle of champagne, and she is praying her ass off. She's just saying, like, I don't know what she's actually saying, but she's just there hoping whoever this fortune teller,
black-haired lion is gonna show up. And guess what? Ryo does show up. Now, if it is in fact the New City Hotel, then that is where he was supposed to be for his date. But I'm going to assume he didn't think he was supposed to go up on the roof and pull out his gun and start protecting Kaori from literally nothing. As far as the information we're given is concerned, he's doing this because Sayako just told him, hey, Kaori's in trouble and you should help her.
Now, to be fair,
how does he know? He doesn't have enough information.
But we do know sometimes there are tracers sewn into her clothing.
Okay, I don't think we have enough information. I really don't.
I mean, again, I'm having to go off old information to try and fill in the gaps that they have left here. Like, as far as Ryo knows, this is, red alert, we gotta get in there. Somebody hit play on the jukebox so footsteps can start going. Because he's going up this elevator like, and mind you, right there next to the elevator shaft he busts through, there's a box that says Sunrise City Hunt on it.
Yeah, they got their little cameo of their own studio right in there, as they often do.
And so he gets up to the roof for the second time in as many weeks of heading up to a roof to get Kaori out of danger.
He's like, oh my god, I'm here! What's going on?
And of course he's there, with his jet black hair and his white tux on, so Kaori sees him and is instantly like, oh, he's the lion! As if you didn't already know he was the lion from earlier in this episode.
Yeah, all the allegory of the scorpions and the rabbit and the lion, and you knew the lion was Ryo. So, yeah, I guess you're right. Like, when she was praying that the lion would show up, was she not, like, conscious that she was praying that Ryo himself would show up?
Well, like, I don't know why the lady said a lion in the first allegory, and she's like, a white lion with black hair will show up, and not say that was a different lion, or, like, she didn't differentiate. Like, I was under the impression she's just describing the first lion better, is how that went down.
Okay.
Like, there's a lot of missing information here.
There really is. And mind you, outside, like, just barely down the stairs where they can't be seen, both Reika and Sayako are down there. Okay, we don't know that it's Reika. I mean, come on now.
Well, it took 3 seconds, because we see Sayako and the old lady fortune teller, but then she pulls off the robe and the mask, and it's Reika.
And Sayako's like, oh, well, I guess he chose Kaori and not you. And I guess that's kind of true, because this is the first moment that Ryo is realizing, oh, those two, they set us up. And then he doesn't think, wait a minute, they set me up. I'm going back on my date to go leave and go meet up with Reika wherever it was that he was supposed to meet up with Reika. He's just like, no, this is fine. Let's do this.
Because Kaori very quickly goes from, what are you doing here, to, hey, I got this champagne, you want to drink it?
And then they're like, yeah, this is fine.
Okay, cool. And that's it. That's the episode. That's all we were given
Ryo's
this week.
not even mad, I guess. He's not even mad that he was set up.
Well, I mean, if it was me, I'd be a little mad that I had to go rent this tux thinking I was about to get some, and now I'm probably not.
But then you realize you've rented a tux to meet up with the person you actually care the most about. That's not that bad, right?
Oh, no, I guess not, especially compared to last week.
Yeah.
Where, again, we all saw it. You kissed her.
Yeah, so how can he be that mad? He's not mad.
He's not that mad. I mean, he's like a little perturbed, but he got over it real quick.
Yeah. Okay, cool. That was nice.
I mean, I appreciate that the show decided, things were real heavy last week. We're going to take it down low-key here with a clip show the week after.
Also, man, we probably, went in really hard for that last two-parter. We need to slow down. We need to give our animators a little bit of a break. We can't go at this breakneck pace anymore. We're still part of this industry that still regularly, continuously produces an anime episode every single week, even though that is not sustainable in the long term.
Yeah. So yeah, I'll give it to them. That was probably the best decision for them to do. And there's not a lot we can say about it because it's a damn clip show. We've covered this already. We've covered all the episodes they covered.
Yeah, we're done.
And so we can just move on to looking forward to next week's episode, where we actually get a very heavy plot episode.
Yeah, I know we really played up, oh my god, the last 2 episodes were some of the most important episodes of the whole series, and they are. That having been said, there's more backstory we can be giving people, especially Kaori, because we don't know a whole heck of a lot about Kaori's past other than she had a brother that kind of raised her because her parents died and then her other parents died. And then this adopted brother raised, and that's it. That's all the information we had.
So next week what's going to happen is we're going to go into a new character, which is Kaori's blood-related sister.
And Kaori doesn't know it.
But everybody else does.
We'll see how that turns out in the next couple of weeks.
This is at least a 2-parter,
It
if
is.
I'm not mistaken,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, so that'll go on for a bit. And, it's a lot of important character building for Kaori because of how much we've been shown that she wants family. She wants to have that nice home, family life balance. And potentially, having another sibling you didn't know about could add to that.
So let's learn about that next time.
Yeah, we're going to do that.
So come back next time when we cover the 52nd episode of City Hunter 2, Reunion After 20 Years. Please look after my sister, Mr. Saiba, Part 1.
And if you want to catch us outside this podcast, you can always find us both over on most social media. I'm at JoshKnightTheFirst.
And I'm at MarzGurl. Thank you all so much for listening to our 102nd episode of MokkoriPlay. And if you don't come back next episode, Josh won't be able to meet his sister.
Well, I can't. We live in 2 different states.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's cool. I'll call her later.